Tackling is a wonky and goofy part of Tekken 7 that adds a lot more tension and pressure mid-match. And obviously some characters are way better at it than others, so today we're going to be looking at the definitive tackle tier listing guide. Before we begin, let's just quickly explain how tackling works. At specific distances, if you run at the opponent, you'll go into a tackling state. Your opponent can break this by pressing forward 2, but the later they do this, the harder it becomes. In the tackling state, most characters will get a two-way mix-up. This can lead to upwards of 35 damage, or none, assuming they break it. However, some characters break this rule, and we're going to be talking about that today. So let's jump straight into it and start at the D tier. These are the characters with no tackle game at all. They do what I said earlier, they have to run at a certain distance just to get into the tackling state. They have nothing special and they pretty much don't have any tackle game at all, so trying to tackle with these characters is fairly useless. The only exception in the D tier would be Asuka, as she can key charge into a tackle. However, key charging into a tackle is a horribly useless gimmick, which can be option select literally by a delayed hop kick, so I highly recommend against doing this a lot. However, it is one option she has over all the other characters in the D tier. Next, let's talk about the C tier, and these are the tackler on command characters. These characters are able to access tackling by pressing down back, whether it be from crouching or standing. Kazuya and Raven are able to tackle by standing. Armor King has to do it from a crouching position. So not that much of a difference, but it is better than the characters in the previous tier. Next, we're going to talk about the B tier, and these are more specialized tacklers. Nina, Jin, and Devil Jin have to run at the opponent to tackle. However, they have a three-way mix-up, adding a 1+2 option to their tackle game, and doing a lot more damage if the opponent does not break the 1+2 option. Negan and Yoshimitsu also have to run to tackle, however, they get a guaranteed unblockable, unavoidable attack. It does less damage, but there is no way to break it, so guaranteed damage is always welcome. Now, let's go on to the A tier. These are the real scary grapplers that you gotta watch out for when it comes to tackling. The first one I want to bring up is King. For one, King can tackle on command, which is always nice, but has to do it from crouching. But he has a three-way mix-up, which is already nice. And if he gets the 1+2 option, he can guarantee extra damage, going up to 55 damage. Dragunov is the next character to be afraid of when it comes to tackling. Not only does he have a three-way mix-up, but for all three options, you only have one chance to break any of them. Failing to do so will go over 35 damage. Dragunov also has a lot of cheeky ways to go into tackle, so he's one of the most versatile characters when it comes to tackling. And speaking of versatility, if Dragunov does his Rage Drive, he can do a special input that allows him to go into an unbreakable tackle into a guaranteed three-way mix-up situation, which signifies that Dragunov is a very versatile tackler. The last character, and who I consider the second strongest grappler in the game, is Paul. Paul can tackle on demand and has a 1+2 option, giving him a three-way mix-up. But Paul has one thing extra that makes him scarier than Dragunov or King, and it's his ultimate tackle. A special command that can only be done during the first round of mix-ups during the tackle. It guarantees upwards of 61 damage and a guaranteed down back 3, putting you at 73 damage for a tackle mix-up that only had one chance to break it. This is very scary and very powerful, and not many people know that you need to break it with a 1, which puts Paul very high on the tackle tier list. Only triumphed by one character when it comes to tackles, and I think you know who that might be. And finally, in the S tier, how could we forget about our boy Craig Marduk? I don't really need to explain why he's the best tackler in the game. The character is literally designed to tackle. His rage drive is a tackle, and he can use his tackle in combos, which gives him insane, unbelievably high damage. No character comes even close to a tackle game like Marduk, obviously. And not to mention, his tackle is the most difficult to break, as the further away he goes into tackle, the less time you have to break it. And if it's timed properly, you only have 2 frames to break it at the right distance, so a good Marduk player will space this out correctly, or time it when you wake up, making it almost impossible to break at all, forcing you into a 3-way mix-up. And that's about it. There's really not much to tackling in Tekken compared to other parts of the game, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Take care, and I'll see you soon.